You've likely seen those signs anywhere in the United States. You see those signs that say, we buy houses for cash. It doesn't matter the condition, the uglier, the better, or we buy ugly homes. Have you ever stopped to think about that for a moment? Why would they be willing to do that? And what's the catch? Is this really a scam or is it an opportunity? Let's take a closer look at how these people operate to see if they're right for you. My name is Andrew Finney, and my passion is to help you make sense of real estate. If you need help finding a top agent near you, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. All right, my friend, let's talk about this because it's pretty comical. We have seen some of these signs that are literally handwritten on a fluorescent piece of paper. And we've seen some other signs that are more sophisticated, or even billboards like the We Buy Ugly Houses company. They actually have billboards out there that are saying, hey, use us, let us buy your home. And it's pretty interesting. But those signs out in communities that are stapled onto telephone poles, or those that have been taped to a light at an intersection, come on now. We gotta really wonder and get real with ourselves. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. So we need to really explore this and see what's going on here. How are they making their profit? How do they operate? And is it going to be a good idea for you to sell your house to one of them? The first type out there are wholesalers. Now, wholesalers are just what it sounds like. Consider like a retail chain. Well, how's a retail chain going to make money? They're going to buy directly from a distributor or manufacturer, and then they're going to turn around, offer it available for sale in their store at a profit for them that they've built into the margin. That's what they're going to do. If we go directly to a distributor, or if we go directly to a manufacturer, we can normally get a better price. So consider that a wholesaler operates much the same way, where they're essentially an intermediary that is trying to connect a seller to a source of money. Now, these wholesalers operate in very interesting ways where they get taught by attending real estate seminars everywhere in the country, and I personally just absolutely despise them. And the reason being is these real estate seminars will say, hey, pay us $1,000 to learn how to wholesale real estate. You're gonna make millions of dollars doing it. It's so easy, anyone can get into this. Not so fast, because if it was really that easy, wouldn't everybody already be into it, right? And why would you be charging $1,000 for this education as opposed to maybe charging $1 million if it was so valuable? Well, they come up with this premise of other people's money, oftentimes called OTP, where they're saying, hey, you know what? We got OTP with us. We got other people's money. All you got to do is go out and find us that deal. Make sure that you're not offering any more than maybe 60% of the market value of that home of the after renovation cost. And whenever you do that, we'll be happy to put that deal together with you, so long as you go out and you find these deals. We have other people's money available to cash in on it. So we got to really get clear on what that wholesaler is doing. They're essentially going to go out and they're going to install those bandit signs, which are actually very illegal in a lot of parts of the country. And a bandit sign is simply that sign that you see that says, we buy houses for cash. We buy houses in any condition. And they're stapled to a telephone pole. They're up on a light pole. When you see those things, just know in a lot of cases, in many parts of the United States, they're illegal and they're called bandit signs. So it's a bandit because think about who's behind it, a bandit. The wholesalers though, right? So I don't want to beat up on them too much. Is it a legitimate practice that they could do that, and could they really consummate a sale? The answer in short is yes, they can. But what is the cost to you, the seller? Now, if you have a house that all it needs is a little bit of like light refurbishment, maybe a little bit of paint on the inside and outside of the house, and maybe a couple of tweaks on the inside, talk to your trusted real estate advisor and get clear on what's going to put your home into a sellable condition at the right price. If on the other side of the token, you have a house that has structural issues, that has major issues, maybe selling to a wholesaler at a loss is actually a good idea for you. Only you can make that decision, but at the end of the day, the wholesaler is going to drop your price way under fair market value. And the reason being is they want those ugly homes, hence why they say we want ugly homes. But what do they really want? They really want those homes that aren't so bad after all, that they can go in and buy at a discount from you, a seller, because maybe you need a quick sell. Maybe there's something going on in your life that says, hey, I need a quick sell. And you see that sign and you feel enticed by it because you know it's going to be a cash transaction and they're just going to do it. If they're going to do it like that, just understand that your trade-off is that you're probably selling at 20 to 30% under your market value. Had you maybe put 5% of the home's value into the home, perhaps you could have got fair market value. Just want to be clear on that, because the wholesaler is in it to win it, and the only one that's winning it is them. The second type are direct buy investors. Now, what is a direct buy investor? A direct buy investor would be like somebody that says, hey, I have access to a lot of money, or perhaps I have a lot of money myself. I'll make you this offer, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, for $200,000. I understand that your home in open market would probably be worth $275,000. I'm going to offer you $200,000 cash and let you move out here in about 30 days, and you don't got to worry about it. I'm not going to do any home inspections or anything. Here's $200,000. There you go. Be on your merry way. So what the direct buyer investor is doing is actually boycotting and getting rid of the wholesaler, which is the intermediary. They're the middleman. They say, I can get this at a much better deal. I want to go straight to the distributor, right to the manufacturer, who is the actual home seller. So when we look at this way of approach, we're like, okay, at least maybe a seller actually knows who the actual investor is. But is it still a good idea for you? Because they're still gonna want that massive discount. In this example, we're talking about your house having a market value of like $275,000. And maybe they're offering you only $200,000. So if you've ever got one of those letters in the mail about, hey, I'll buy your house for $200,000, and you know your market value is like $275,000, come on now, get real. Let's be honest about this. It doesn't really fool anybody. And this is why I don't like these programs or what these people do, is because I have often had some of the more elderly clients that I've worked with call me or send me a picture of these letters saying, Andrew, why is this person offering me cash? You know, maybe I want to sell my home. Maybe they bought that same home that's now worth $275,000. Maybe they bought it at like $150,000, and $200,000 to them sounds good. So where I'm going with this is it's almost like, to me as a trusted real estate advisor, I kind of see this as like a predatory practice where you start preying on an older demographic just because you're trying to catch them unawares, or preying upon somebody that doesn't know the market. And I don't appreciate that approach. Now, if somebody wants to make a well-informed decision that's right for them, and they know up front they're taking a loss in relation to what they could sell their home for in the open market, hey, it's your property, do what you want. At the end of the day, all I'm asking you to do is to open your eyes so you're not blind. Don't be fooled, because oftentimes with both wholesalers and with the direct buy investors, what they want to do is they want to find that property that has good bones behind it. Maybe it only needs to be painted. Maybe it only needs to be cleaned up. Maybe it just needs to have some updates done to it, like fresh cabinets, or at least a fresh coat of paint on the cabinets, new carpet, perhaps new flooring types. And they can turn around and sell it at a profit, or perhaps what they're going to do is they're going to come in, purchase it all out cash. Then they're going to get traditional financing on it, because a lot of mortgage lenders across the United States will say, hey, if you have investment property, we'll actually give you 80% or 75% of the value of that home back to finance it out. So then they're essentially getting like 80 to 75% of that cash investment back, so they can do what with? Either pocket it as a profit or take it back out, more than likely. Go find the next person that's agreeing to sell their home to them for a massively discounted price and go from there. So we need to be clear about how these programs operate and why it's so important for you to reach out to your trusted real estate advisor. If you don't have one, simply contact me and I'll help you find one in an area near you, or get on Google and Google agents in your area. Check their past sales, check their ratings, check their reviews, and make sure you're getting in league with the right person that's going to shoot straight with you, be honest with you, so you know what's going on. The third type are actually what are called iBuyers. Now, iBuyers are kind of a newer phenomenon with technology growing at the pace that it is. You get people that are innovative, that found themselves some VC, which is venture capital, that say, hey, you know what? This real estate market thing in the United States is kind of big money. How can we get into this too and actually kind of get into this racket of the we buy homes cash deal and try to make it look beautiful and glamorous to a would-be seller? Well, what we can do is we can make really fancy marketing. We can try to attack real estate agents and make them sound like they're a bad thing because they actually live and work off of commissions. And we can try to say, hey, we have a convenience fee, but not a commission, except for somehow that convenience fee is actually more than a commission? I mean, come on now. Let's get clear on this and let's be real about this. Whenever you see the iBuyers out there, their whole premise and their whole claim to fame is, hey, you know what? We can step in, buy your house cash. You can move out at a flexible date for you. We are going to do home inspections. No, we're not going to offer you fair market value for your home, because why? They want to do the same thing as every other flipper, every other investor do, which is buy low, sell high. So is that right for you? At the end of the day, only you can make that decision. Again, all I'm asking you to do is to open your eyes to the reality. It doesn't make sense if all you got to do is do a few renovations to your property. That's not going to set you back if it's within your financial ability, of course, and make sure that you're getting the fair market value of your home. Any of these people, whether they're wholesalers, whether they're direct buy investors, or whether they're iBuyers, they will not be giving you fair market value for your home. Come on, how are they going to make money? They can't make money if they're giving you fair market. So what they want to do is they want to drop that price as much as they can can. And in the case of an iBuyer especially, they're going to send out a home inspector. They're going to drop your price again or put you on the hook for making those repairs, but more than likely just going to drop your price. And then they're going to charge you this nice little nifty convenience fee that is going to be, at the end of the day, probably 12 to 15% of your home's value by the time you start adding up how much they're offering that's less than market value, by the time they put their inspection stuff in there, and by the time they put in their convenience fee. Quite realistically, it's about 12 to 15%, at least for what we've seen here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So you need to keep your eyes open throughout this process. Please don't be wooed by fancy marketing. Please don't be deceived by those letters in the mail that say, we'll buy your house for X number of dollars, and some of them are so aggressive they'll actually send you a purchase agreement. And don't be fooled by those bandits out there called bandit signs on a telephone pole that are saying, hey, we buy your house cash. And you're thinking to yourself, I haven't updated this house in the last 30 years. I want to do that because I want to sell. I know there's problems. I just want to sell it quickly. Be careful with that and keep your eyes open. The fourth thing to gain clarity on is, should you sell to one of those entities, whether it's a wholesaler, a direct buy investor, or an iBuyer. Now, ultimately, it really depends on your situation in life. How fast do you realistically need to sell? And how fast are homes truly selling on the open market in your area? Only way to know that for sure is to contact a trusted real estate advisor, get an assessment of what your home should sell for, and also take into consideration what are your needs and your time frames that you have to be out of that house. Here's the reality that's not always shared with you, and it can be very dishonest as well if somebody approaches you and says, hey, you know what, even if you have negative equity in your house, we can get that mortgage discharged for you, and we can make sure you don't have to come to the closing table with money. That would obviously now be preying on who? Somebody that's in a distressed property sale situation, like a foreclosure is coming up or a short sale might be getting ready to happen. That's very painful, because think about that for a moment. Those people are so in love with money. They're so greedy. They find the neediest people that will believe any song and dance, and they take advantage of that situation when that person really needed to have open eyes and be working with someone that they can trust. So where I'm going at with this is, if anybody tells you and you know for a fact you're in a negative equity or upside down mortgage position that they're going to get the loan discharged if you sell the home to them, not so fast. Please review everything carefully, hire a real estate attorney if needed, or simply contact your trusted real estate advisor. They'll look it over with you and see if it's going to be a smart and wise decision for you. Now, there are times that selling to perhaps a wholesaler or a direct buy investor, or even an iBuyer for that matter, could make sense. Let's consider if you have a job relocation, or let's consider if your home is in really, really awful condition, and I mean the bones are completely broken in the house. In those cases, obviously you're not going to be able to sell in the open market to anyone but cash, and of course going to have some problems there anyways, because you're going to be looking for investor clientele that have the money to swoop in with cash, resuscitate the property, rehab it, and either put it into a buy hold position into their real estate portfolio, or to turn around and flip it out. Either way, you got to be clear on what you have in your property. And when you look at it from the other point of view, is if all you need to do is repaint your house on the inside outside, change out the carpet, maybe spruce up the landscaping, it's not going to cost that much money to do that. And you're going to be able to make a lot more money on it with a traditional trusted real estate advisor. What I'm asking you to do is to be honest with yourself. Keep an open mind, keep your eyes open, and be truly knowledgeable about the decisions you're making. The last thing I'd ever want to hear about is that you got hurt because you chose to proceed with one of those entities and you didn't ask the questions up front about how much it's going to cost, and you didn't get with a trusted real estate advisor to truly better understand how long it would take you to sell your home and what price your home would ultimately sell for, and have a side-by-side comparison. Ultimately, the shot is yours to take. If your home has broken bones, then perhaps this is a good option for you to sell to one of these entities. But if all it's going to take is a little bit of freshening up, consider your options wisely, because listing with a trusted real estate advisor is probably going to make you a lot more money. So now, speaking of this topic, let's get into real estate scams and what you need to be aware of so it doesn't happen to you. And let's take a closer look at 10 things not to do when selling your house. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. We'll see you in a few.